Hey everyone, today on the plastic canvas we're painting Snow from Zombie 15. Maddie from the Plastic Canvas, and welcome to another Zombie 15 Survivor painting video. Just quickly, Zombie 15 is a 15-minute real-time co-op survival game where players play as one of our 8 characters, trying to meet objectives while taking on the zombie horde. Very, very fast-paced, very, very frantic, lots and lots of fun, but plays really, really quickly, and the minis are moving around super, super fast, and so because of that and the time that they actually spend out on the board, not going for a super high quality with these minis. If you've watched the other ones, you've seen the standard that I've been painting them to. Going for, you know, sort of tabletop quality. But I mean, they are quite small, so sort of taking that into account, but just enough to do the job. But one of the most important things with these characters is that they do all have their own individual colour scheme. Because of how quickly the game moves, the people playing the game need to be able to identify the minis super, super fast. So all of them have a really distinctive colour scheme. And if I just quickly bring in Snow's card, which is, which is this one here. Try and get her in there. So she's our white character. And you can see, like I've primed her, but left the ring of her base there, and you can see that it's going to be white. So when I paint the base, that'll be white to just to really help with how quickly she can be picked out. So far, yeah, primed her just with my brush on primer. I've talked in a couple of the videos about why I use a brush on primer at the moment. In the future, I'll be moving away from that to go to a spray primer, but if you want to find out why I'm still using that, you can check out one of the other videos to find out about that. I won't go into that again in case you've already seen them. You just don't need to hear the same stuff over and over. And then I have done a bit of a skin coat. But what I'm going to be doing is, because she's predominantly white, or at the very least most of the surfaces except for her hair are light colours, I'm just going to go and do just a white base coat to the whole mini. If I had a white primer, I would have primed her in white, just to make the light tones easier to paint, and also because so much of her is white, it's just going to save me sort of going back over or trying to at least pick out the white bits that'll already be white. So in the past, I've always just done my black prime, because that's the only primer that I've had, and then base coated each of the individual elements. So like if, for example, if I bring in Siphon, who was done in the first video, predominantly yellow, I painted the yellow sections like individually, whereas like, I mean, not that there's like a yellow primer, or if there is, I don't know about it, but because I've got the option here with so much white, yeah, I'm going to be just doing a whole white coat and then going back over that with any bits that aren't white. So yeah, so in the past, if there's been a predominant colour right the way through, I haven't just base coated the whole thing and then just painted those bits individually that are a different colour. They're going to give that a go here. As much as I can, I'll try and leave the skin tone alone so I don't need to redo it, but if I need to, then so be it. So yeah, so first step is just going to be a white base coat to everywhere, which will actually take care of most of the mini, and then pick out the other details from there. So yeah, so I'm going to get into just base coating, and then we'll check out what we're going to do next. gotten a pretty basic first coat done with the white. Couple of little spots that need to be touched up, but that's absolutely fine because the skin for a start will definitely need another coat. Just for anyone wondering, I did all of that with my regiment size brush. I use the Army Painter Wargamer brushes. That's my regiment. The only other one that I swapped into there was just my Insane Detail, just for the inside of the bat there, just so I didn't sort of slop too much around. One thing I have sort of learned along the way is that, and I've heard plenty of people mention this, is that you can always paint with a bigger brush than what you think you can. When I first started, I was painting and minis that are bigger than this, and I've done this in each video, but if I bring in, well, here we are, here's the white bottle that I'm using, a half-ounce bottle. If I bring that in, you know, you can see how small, like, she is. Even if I bring in, if anyone's familiar, like Mansions of Madness, here's a, oh, can't see the name of it, like a star spawn. I've got the name covered up. Anyway, you'll know it if you see it. So here's a star spawn, so, you know, much bigger than what she is. Even at this scale, you don't need brushes that are too small. When I first started, and I was even painting minis bigger than her, I was using like a 0 brush, just because I thought that, you know, everything needed to be, you know, slow pace, absolutely precise. When you're base coating, you can definitely use a bigger brush than what you think you can. I don't actually know how the Army Painters transfer over to the number sizes. So the regiment, just comparing against my old 2 size brush that I've got, the regiment looks bigger than a 2. So whatever that works out to be, a 3 or a 4, something like that. So even one as small as that, I'm able to use a big one with that. The Insane Detail, I don't know what that comes across to. Definitely, I'd be guessing at least smaller than a 0. Anyway, that's all beside the point. So, and if you've watched some of the previous videos, I've mentioned that I usually mix in some drying retarder with my paint to help thin it down. None of that for this one, because I want this to dry pretty quick to get onto the second coat. So just a little bit of water on the brush just each time I go in for some, just to keep that consistency a bit thinned out, so that it goes on smooth, but not so much that it'll run everywhere. So yeah, that's probably it for the moment. Just going to give that a little bit of time to dry to do a second coat, which will be quick for you guys. We'll come straight back. But yeah, so when I come back in, I won't stop to talk about anything. I'll just go straight into the second coat and then stop to talk about what I'm going to do next. there's a base coat done on Snow. The only thing I sort of really want to do from here is a really watered down black wash. Just because the white's really bright, and even though like in her card it's definitely white, I just sort of think, you know, in a zombie apocalypse, it's just not going to be that bright. It's going to be dirty, and just, you know, and a bit worn. So, but I don't want it to really change it to grey, just to sort of dull it down a little bit. So I'm going to take my Nuln oil and just really water it down. I'm just going to put it in my palette. Fair bit of water, yep. And then just lightly put it over, just to knock down that white a little bit, without actually turning it like grey. And then from there, I'm probably not going to do too much more. It's a little bit of a case like Severity, who I painted earlier this series, because it's quite a flat mini and there's just not much going on there. I didn't bother with any actual highlighting or shading. I just base coated it and then did the blood effect. I'm thinking of doing the same thing with Snow. There's just not really anywhere that I think it's worth really bringing out any details. Like there's like the material in her clothing is dead flat. There is very little detail in this mini. So I just don't think there's going to be any worth in actually adding any highlighting or shading. So I'm just going to do that wash just to knock down the white a little bit, and then it'll pretty much be some blood effects, and then she'll be done. Consistency I've got it at the moment, and you can just sort of see how much water is in that. You can barely see the black in there. So I'm just going to see how it goes. I do have some paper towel here to wipe it off. I tried just a touch before, still too much black. So we're just going to sort of see how it goes. So that there's what I'm looking for. So I don't know if you can. Should be able to tell a bit more there, hopefully. The light that I've actually got here might be doing a bit too much. Hopefully you can tell. So obviously, so that leg there's the one that's had the wash go on. This one here has no wash. I think you can tell there. This leg's just quite a bit brighter than what this one is, but this one's still definitely white. But yeah, it just doesn't have that vibrancy that the other leg does. So the whole mini is going to get this wash. Alright, that's good. That's done exactly what I wanted it to do. So she's still white, but just dirty to wrap a little bit. Just looks a little bit more like she's spent a little bit of time in the zombie apocalypse. Couple of little spots where I just got the wash in a spot that I didn't want to, so I'll just go back over that with the skin tone just in there and just on her face there just to clean that up. A little go doing a bit of a worn sort of look on the baseball bat there, so I was just painted with my silver metallic, and then just with one of my old brushes just flared the bristles out and just got a little bit of black and just sort of flicked it across, just so it looks like it's been, you know, a bit chipped and that sort of thing. Not worrying about it sort of looking too perfect, because most of the blood effect on her will go on the end of the baseball bat there, because that's what she's using the most. But yeah, so I'll give this a bit of, just going to do a little bit more just down there on her boots actually. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so I'm just going to quickly touch up those spots on her skin because I didn't want the wash to go there, and then I'll leave this to dry, so that then when I come back, it'll be time for the blood effects, and then she'll be done. Alright, so Snow's had a little bit of time there for that wash to dry. Normally I'd leave it for quite a bit longer than what I have, because all I'm going to do from now on is just the blood effect. I'm not worrying too much about that actually being properly dry, but I mean, like, to the touch it's not, like, nothing's coming off, so it's definitely dry enough for what I still need to do. Now, going straight off Snow's card, she has very, very little blood on her, but like I've sort of mentioned in some of the other videos, one thing I sort of try and do to direct my painting a little bit is to try and tell a little bit of a story with each of the minis. So just thinking about what they're actually doing within the game world, how that's going to affect how they look. And so a character like Snow, who's using her baseball bat to take down the zombies, she's going to be getting really up close to them, smash them in the head with the baseball bat. It's going to be spraying blood everywhere, so I'm actually going to paint her with a little bit more blood than what it shows in her card, just to sort of reflect the fact that, yeah, she's probably going to be getting a bit of spray from the blood. Just a little bit of a comparison, like if I bring in, say, like Severity here, who has her pistols, she's only got like a little bit of blood on her because she's going to be doing most of her fighting from a bit of a distance, whereas if I bring in like Vance here, who has his machetes, similar to Snow, being weapons, that means he's going to be getting really up close and personal with the zombies. He's covered in quite a bit more blood than what Severity is, so I try and sort of think about what they're actually going to be doing and how that's going to affect how they look, rather than just purely working straight off the card. So yeah, so I'll be doing a bit of extra blood on her. So yeah, so it'll be blood, base, and then that'll be Snow finished. Just a quick note before I do start the blood effect, if this is one of the first videos in this series that you've seen, I do talk in the earlier ones. I'm just trying not to repeat myself too many times for those that are watching each episode, each video. In the earlier ones, I do talk about the process I go through to do the blood effect. Hopefully from the video you can pretty well tell what I'm doing, but if you want to know how I go about it and how I've sort of changed what I do a little bit, check out some of those earlier videos, probably like the episode 1, 2 and 3, Siphon, Vance and Severity. Pretty sure I mentioned it there, so yeah, check that out if you want any extra info. But yeah, just in the interest of people that have been watching, I'm not going to go through it again. Alright, so since the last part of the video there where I did the first coat on her base, I've gone back and done a second coat to finish that off, and I've also touched up the bottoms of her feet where some of the paint from the base went up onto them, but that was all of about 30 seconds worth of painting, so I didn't really think you guys needed to see that, so I didn't bother filming that. But what that means is that Snow is finished. and Snow is the last survivor in this series, which means that in terms of the Zombie 15 survivors, we are done. I am going to be putting up a video that shows how I painted the zombies, because I painted them before I started this channel, so I don't actually have any footage of me painting them, but I do still want to put that up to show how I went about that, because it was a little bit of a different process. But yeah, so survivors are done. So thank you very, very much for the time that you guys put into watching these videos. I do genuinely appreciate it. You know, I'm sort of doing this to document my sort of progress through the hobby, but I am putting the content out there to, you know, to be watched. So I do really appreciate that you guys do watch these videos. As always, please do leave a comment below, something that you like about these videos and something that you think could be improved. I'm always looking to make these as good as possible for you guys, and I can't do that without your feedback, so I would really appreciate that. One thing I have changed a little bit in the last couple of videos, mainly the Hazel, Josh, and this video, is that I've tried to do longer stretches of painting without stopping quite as frequently to talk about different things as they sort of come to mind. And so what I've tried to do is hold off on talking to put lump that what I'm going to talk about together in between the stages. So I talk for longer each time, but less frequent. So I'd be interested to hear whether you guys prefer me to stop more frequently and talk in smaller chunks each time, but that means I break up the painting a bit more, or if you think it's better for me to do longer stretches of painting with less frequent talking, but obviously the talking goes for longer. But yeah, so I hope you've been able to take something away from this video, something that you might use in your own painting, or something that you think you're going to avoid, because both of those are important, or even if you're not taking something away, that you've just enjoyed watching me paint. So yeah, so please do like and subscribe. Keep up to date with when these videos are coming out. And there's just one little quick thing that I do want to show. I do keep mentioning through these videos how small these minis are, and I've kept bringing in one of my paint droppers just to give you a bit of a scale of them. Here's a 1/2 ounce bottle. You can sort of see from there. But when I started filming this little bit, I didn't have it quite zoomed in, and she looked really, really funny down on my card here that I'm painting on. So I'm just going to sit her, oh, whatever, she can sit whoever she wants to. I'm just going to leave that there, and I'm going to zoom out. All right, so that's fully zoomed out. And then I'm going to bring in, this is a dark one, I think it's called. I don't have the card in, but this is from Mansions of Madness, which I'm going to be painting soon. And this is not a big mini, nothing sort of special about the size of it, but there we go. There's a bit of a comparison, and Snow is pretty well the same size as all the other minis that are in Zombie 15. So yeah, so there's the dark one compared to Snow. These really, really are small. So that sort of hopefully gives you a bit of an idea of why I've painted them to the standard that I have. But yeah, so this guy will be painted pretty soon, because I'm going to do Mansions of Madness next. But yeah, just wanted to show that. So yeah, so please do leave some feedback down below. I really, really appreciate you guys spending some time watching these. And yeah, so this is Matt from the Plastic Canvas signing out. Happy painting, everyone. Cheers.